Alrighty, good evening, everybody. I am Ryan here, Michigan Storm Chasers, alongside Caleb. This is our weekly stream we do every Monday at 7 p.m. to talk about the upcoming week of weather. Today is no exception. Let's go ahead and break this down. We have a lot to talk about and a lot of scenarios to go over. I'm sure many of you are wanting to know the main question of snow potential. We'll talk about that, but again, this is not a briefing. This is just going to be a weekly stream, so we're going to touch on it. We'll have more detailed streams coming in the future days if need be. But we'll go ahead and give you guys the overview just to start. So first and foremost, welcome to the stream. Please be sure to hit the like button. It helps us out quite a bit. And then also, before we get started, a shout out to our sponsor of the video, Katz Roofing and Siding, based out of the Lansing area. They cover South Central Michigan with roofing, siding, gutter, and window needs. The number is on your screen to call them, 517-485-9886. With that being said, let's go ahead and pop out the chat here. And let's go ahead and shout some of our viewers out here. We got Carrie, Kim, Laura, Trisha, Alan, Courtney, got Jass in here. What's up, guys? Good evening. Good evening to all of you. Let's go ahead and get started. So this week is going to be an introduction to, I'm not going to say winter temperatures, but borderline winter temperatures. Let's go ahead and break this down here and talk about it. We have a temperature graph out of the Lansing area. We're going to have one warm day, more so morning tomorrow. We're going to potentially be into the 60s across South Central Lower Michigan before a cold front moves through and drops us. But before that front moves through, we're going to be in the 60s. But after that, Wednesday, we have 55. And then after that, look how far that drops off. We go from 55 to 39 for a high temperature based out of the Lansing area. It'll be the case for much of the state. So do expect colder temperatures here on out after tomorrow morning. We look at the graph in the long term, we're looking at low to mid 40s through the weekend into next week. And then as we look beyond and towards that Thanksgiving into the first part of December, we're looking at pretty much average temperatures here, right around 40, if not in the high 30s. So winter is finally coming. I know that's going to upset and depress a lot of people, but that's the reality of Michigan seasons. We do have winter upcoming, but with those colder temperatures come the potential for, yes, snow. We'll talk about the long term here in a second, but first, let's go ahead and dive into the precip chances for this week. We're going to start our days tomorrow, or actually really tonight, with rain moving in from southwest to northeast. That actually, I think it's raining here at my house. We have rain currently overspreading the state. That will continue overnight into tomorrow morning. Here's the GFS model here. The green is obviously is rain. Any blue would be snow. Looking at the low pressure system off to the west, this is system number 1 of the week. This is going to be moving off and pull north. And as that does, it'll pull up some moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. And that fuels our chances of precipitation, in this case, rain. That low pressure pulls north. That rain clears out of the state. This is Tuesday at 1 p.m. here. Still some rain moving around, lingering around the state. But by the time we get to the sunset part of tomorrow into Wednesday morning, that rain should move out. And then attention turns to the big story of the week. And that is our system for Wednesday evening into Thursday morning. If you're not familiar, we are tracking a system, have been tracking a system for quite some time that has been kind of bouncing around the models, showing some snow sometimes, and it says it's too warm. It's typical of these models and systems to do that, especially on the early part of the season where we don't have confidence in snowfall happening. But I'll go ahead and give you guys the latest trends here. This is the GFS model here. Noticing here in Wednesday morning into Wednesday afternoon, a low pressure system develops right overhead. This is the center of it over basically Flint. That's going to pull north as it deepens. And then as it pulls north, it kind of swings back around to the west. As it does so, that happens Wednesday night into early Thursday morning. That is when temperatures are coldest, which is going to help support some snow chances. And as that low pressure pulls back to the west, it will also deepen and dive further south. So it kind of does a 180, so almost like a 360 almost, and just kind of pulls back south. So it's a interesting system for sure. And this time frame here to watch for snow is late Wednesday into early Thursday morning. As it does so, we're going to be watching two things. Number one, how fast can this low pull north and strengthen? And then as it does so, how far west or east will it go when it swings back around? That will determine who gets the best chances of snowfall. The latest trends on the models this afternoon has kind of shifted it more so to the west, so it gives West Michigan potential for a little bit more in the way of snow potential. But again, the main question will come down to another thing we're going to talk about is temperatures. The latest trends today through this morning and afternoon's models have trended cold, which is going to help support that snow chance. We'll go ahead and take this back here, and under the time frame here at 1 a.m. Thursday morning, late Friday or late Wednesday and early Thursday morning. Pay attention here to your temperatures. I get that to stay. There we go. We're getting 33, 32, 34, 34, 32. It's right around freezing, which will help support that snow potential. But if we were to go back a few model runs here, for example, we're going to notice that the warmer temperatures have kind of trended more so cold. So go back to tomorrow or yesterday's, we're looking at 38, 36, 35. We're looking a little bit, a few degrees higher, which is why we're trending more so toward cold or towards snow now, just because these 1 or 2 degree temperature differences can make all the difference with these systems. So that is what we're kind of watching now. If it continues to trend cold, we are going to introduce our snow map of tomorrow. Is it going to be a major winter storm? No. Okay. Get that out of your head. It's not going to be a blizzard. It's not going to have a foot of snow here in Michigan. But I do think we have potential for a couple of inches of accumulation for portions of the state. Can't get specific where, but it does look like we do have that potential at least somewhere, especially in lower Michigan. We'll keep an eye on that for sure. Keep you guys updated in terms of the amounts and such like that tomorrow, especially for that. Moving on past the Thursday time frame, going back to our precip map. If I can get this pulled up. There we go. Going past that, we're going to have another round of potential lake effect snow and lake effect rain on the backside of this low pressure system. As it moves off to the south, it'll turn the winds out of the northwesterly, and that could and should pick up lake effect precip. In this case, the model says rain, but as we get later on into Friday evening into Saturday morning, that changes over to a snow for the UP and also northern lower Michigan. So we're going to keep an eye on that as well, especially because those winds do remain turned northwesterly for a good 12, 16 hours there. So it could bring some additional accumulation up there for lake effect prone areas. But we're going to wait until we get closer to that Friday and Saturday time frame to lock that in, just because lake effect is really hard to predict, as is any winter system. Potential does exist for lake effect snow on the backside of the system as it moves through on Friday. Going past Friday into Saturday, and again, lake effect snow showers remain possible. Through the day on Sunday, our winds finally kind of turn away from the west, but then we watch another system moving in from the west that, again, could bring us a similar picture, potential rain, potential snow. And again, being this far in advance, we can't get specific, but another system looks to move through around that Sunday into Monday timeframe. It could dump, an inch or two, perhaps, or it could be all rain. We'll have to keep an eye on that, and we'll let you guys know. But I will say this system that's coming Wednesday night into Thursday morning does look to be more so of the potent type versus this one that's coming in for Monday. So we'll keep an eye on that. After that, again, temperatures drop off into the weekend into early next week. Keep an eye on that for sure. And then as we get to the Climate Prediction Center outlooks here, the 6 to 10 day outlooks continue to show above average temperatures here. I don't think it'll be that above average. We're talking, 40s and 40 to 45 degrees in terms of your average temperature here. I'm not sure why exactly they put the above average contour here. We're going to be right about average, if not just below average here. As far as precip goes, we are in the above average contoured area. And as it goes to the 8 to 14 day, similar picture here, but the below average is coming in closer to Michigan, but we're still in above average contour, and we stay in the above average for precipitation for the 8 to 14 day period. Last but not least, the drought condition monitor. We still need rain. We are going to take this drought into winter with us. It's not the worst thing in the world. We're not in the middle of dead summer, which is great. But still, we're dry. We need rain, and this will likely stick around unless we get some, significant snowfall at some point this winter. And then when that melts, that should help our drought conditions. But we're in a drought. It's going to be dry. Would avoid burning if at all possible. Speaking of burning, I do want to touch on one last thing here. The wind gust potential tomorrow. We did not cover that. We do have some gusty winds expected throughout the day tomorrow, especially for the UP of Michigan and also western lower, perhaps northern lower as well. But in particular, Lake Michigan, we're looking at gusts up to 50 miles per hour on the lake, which could create waves up to 15 feet. So if you're on the lakeshore, or if you have marine friends or boating friends, make sure that they're aware of this. I don't think anybody's going out to party on Lake Michigan being so cold, but if you guys know people who are, working on the lake, I know there's a lot of freighters out there, stuff like that. definitely be aware and definitely let them know what's coming. I'm sure they probably know themselves, but the winds will be a big story come Tuesday morning or tomorrow morning into the afternoon here for portions of the state. With that being said, I believe that is everything we need to cover here. I will gladly answer some questions, but again, we're going to get a separate briefing tomorrow or perhaps Wednesday. We're going to see how it trends tomorrow. We'll do a briefing for any snow potential and impacts come either tomorrow night or sometime during the day on Wednesday. And before we get to questions, I see two members coming back here for another month. I see Ashley here come back for another month 7 for Ashley. Thank you, Ashley, for your support. And also Pacify ASMR coming back for their 5th month. Thank you, Pacify, for joining us. Thank you guys for come back to the team. I can't believe I got through that without coughing. I'm just getting over the cold here, so I'm shocked at myself here.
And with that being said, thanks everyone for joining us here as we got through the weekly forecast here. Something else I want to briefly touch on here before I get into questions. I do want to draw your attention to the UP because we have really strong winds over the lakeshore. The National Weather Service in Marquette has issued wind advisories for northern Houghton County and Keweenaw County. They're on the Keweenaw Peninsula. Strong winds could come off Lake Superior. So it could be dangerous or difficulty driving if you're going up to Copper Harbor or somewhere up in there. But also for Delta County and Keweenaw County, including Aurora, National Weather Service has issued a lakeshore flood advisory. So these are unique advisories. These are different from a localized flood advisory, as this is mainly for along the lakeshore of Lake Michigan and Lake Superior. That offshore flow or onshore flow, depending on what side of the lake you're on, pushes that water to one side of the lake or the other. And that can cause some beach erosion and some flooding on if roads are really low along the lakeshore. So do keep that in mind if you're in Delta County or Keweenaw County as well in the UP. Other than that, feel free to put your questions down in the chat. We'll be happy to answer them here for you. If you missed anything on the weekly forecast, feel free to go back in and rewatch the first half of this segment here, and we'll have all that here for you.
I see Candace asking for snow potential for Wayne County. So we're going to say this as a blanket statement. We're going to do another briefing specifically for the snow potential for Wednesday evening and Thursday, probably tomorrow night, if not Wednesday morning or Wednesday afternoon.
Yep.
Perhaps Wednesday night. We'll talk about that. We'll get a date set. But overall, this is a weekly stream briefing. There is no potential. Yes, it's not going to be significant, or at least it shouldn't be significant. But I do think a few inches of accumulation definitely possible in portions of lower Michigan. It's just going to be a matter of where and exactly when.
Yeah. A lot of things to iron out with, and that's why we're not doing a full breakdown tonight, as this is an evolving system. So we'll have more information as we go in tomorrow. But this is going to be a lopsided system too. Keep that in mind. It's going to be colder air on the south side of the system and warmer air on the north side of the system. And that's because as this low looks to deepen, it's going to pull a lot of warm, moist air to the north side of the low and bring down that cold Canadian air on the south side. So that's what makes this system so dynamic and such a challenging forecast as well. Another thing to keep in mind is too, our ground temperatures are very warm still. So that'll help mitigate some of the crazy snowfall numbers that other sites are putting out as well. So keep that in mind as well. I do think some slushy accumulations are possible, but probably mainly on grassy surfaces right now. We could maybe see some stuff on bridges, but again, a lot of that has to do with our temperatures. Right now, the models are going back and forth between 33, 32, 36. So with that being said, we need some more time to see where those temperatures are going to fall, because a degree or two can make a big difference. So with that being said, we'll have more details to come tomorrow. So
it's crazy too, just adding to that for winter forecasting, 1 degree makes all the difference, and it can't make all the difference. And we're also trying to predict snow amounts to your backyard, which is extremely hard to do in and of itself. So for example, when you complain that, hey, or when we talk about rain forecast, for example, we say, oh, you're going to get a ½ inch. Let's say you get an inch instead. You're not that shocked, are you? Probably not. But in terms of snowfall, a ½ inch can be 3, 4, 5 inches sometimes. So that's
available water in the atmosphere too,
right?
Because the warmer, so your sweet spot is 32 degrees, between 28 and 32. That's where you can hold your maximum amount of moisture in the atmosphere, because your dew points can only go as high as what your actual temperature is, just because the atmosphere can't hold anything more than that. And so your temperature gradient makes a big difference a lot of it has to do with ratios that are associated with snow. For example, a 10-to-1 ratio means that 1 inch of snow at 32 degrees equals roughly 10 inches of snow. So that's just kind of a base ratio on how that works. So it's very complex when you have these dynamic systems, especially when they're ever evolving too. You can think you have a forecast set in stone. It's been trending for 4 runs. And then let's say a new model run comes out and has something completely different. So with that being said, it's an ever evolving system. And with these systems like this here, where you have a lot of phasing, where you have one low, the parent low moving into Canada, and the secondary low on your screen deepening as it occludes and comes around, it's a moving process. It's an ever evolving process. There's your parent low here. You can see that right along that purple line there, that rain there across northern Indiana, southwest lower Michigan. That's where that secondary area of low pressure is going to develop. It's called a short wave. A lot of times those are little ripples in the jet stream, and they can deepen given the right environment and actually form another area of low pressure, and that's what's going to happen here. And as those tend to deepen rapidly, the pressure drops, and that often allows them to pull north and kind of hook around, and that's what we're going to see. But there's so many moving parts to these forecasts here that it just takes more time for the forecast models to really fully analyze that data and to figure out where it's going. So we won't leave you in the dark. We'll keep you updated there. A lot of moving parts here. And as soon as we feel confident enough as to what snow we're going to see, what rain we're going to see, where and how much, we'll put a graphic out, a statement out, and we'll let you guys know. So don't worry about that. So I told Roger we were just talking that this wasn't going to be a briefing tonight, but there is our winter weather early briefing. So with that being said, any other questions you guys have tonight?
I do see a question in here about wind throughout the week. In particular for the east side, I believe the question was, or Kathleen asked about Lansing winds. So it's not going to be super windy over on the central and east part of the state. But it will be windy tomorrow for sure on the west part of the state and also the northern part of the state. Here's the NAM 3 model here for tomorrow. Those purples indicate about 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts there. So notice how on the east side there, you're not really seeing too much in the way of 30 plus mile an hour winds, more so 20, 25, maybe 30 max. Lansing there looks to be about 30, perhaps 35 max tomorrow. And then as we get into the other parts of the week, the wind kind of dies down a little bit for Wednesday, but it does kind of kick up there, but nothing really to be concerned about. I think tomorrow is going to be the bigger picture for snowfall. Yeah. Or not snowfall, yeah. for wind. I got snow in my brain.
It really depends on how that secondary low develops. A deeper low or a stronger low can possibly create some stronger winds at the surface comes Wednesday, Thursday afternoon. A lot of it's dependent on how strong that low actually gets and how tight those isobars are to really give us our winds. The winds tonight into tomorrow, really the strongest winds, I think, right now near term are actually going to be overnight tonight, especially across the UP and northwest portions of lower Michigan. As this low moves north, it's actually going to bring down some pretty strong winds out of the southeast. I know most of us are used to winds blowing in the south, southwest, but tonight they're actually going to be out of the southeast, moving northwest. So do keep that in mind. If you have patio furniture, you might want to bring those inside. Strongest wind time frame is probably anywhere after about 4 a.m. tonight, 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. to about 3 p.m. tomorrow, especially across the UP and Michigan. Again, wind advisories are out for the Keweenaw Peninsula for the strongest winds that are coming off the lake. Everywhere else is just under wind advisory criteria up there, but still gusty enough to blow your garbage can up the road and blow some loose items around. So do keep that in mind if you're in northwest Michigan and as well as the UP is Michigan as well.
Lyle asked, what do wave heights look on Lake Michigan for the next couple of days? So between Tuesday and Friday, there's a couple peaks of peak wave heights. One of which is tomorrow morning. We're seeing roughly 10 to 15 foot waves across south and this particular southeast part of Lake Michigan. And then Wednesday throughout the day, throughout the central part of Lake Michigan, we're seeing wave heights about 8 to 12 feet or so. And then Thursday, it's more so calm on Thursday, but then Friday kind of picks back up there for portions of the lake. So between 8 to 15 feet, kind of off and on throughout the next couple of days.
Yeah. And with that being said, though, so the wave direction is actually going to switch directions here in the middle of the week. So tomorrow, our winds are going to be out of the southeast. So those waves are going to be being pushed northward. hence why we have a lakeshore flood advisory for Delta County for the UP. Come into middle part of the week, Wednesday, as that secondary low deepens, it's going to pull wind from the north. So those waves are going to be breaking south. So do keep that in mind if you live along there. Wouldn't be surprised to see some lakeshore flood advisories maybe further south with that southward push of water, or some beach hazard statements out there just for some beach erosion and stuff like that. So do keep that in mind if you're along the west coast of Michigan, especially along Lake Michigan, middle of the week, as we could have some onshore flow that could cause some beach erosion there. So something to watch. It's an ever-evolving system, and we'll keep you updated if we see any changes.
Rhombus asks, will the cold bring higher chances for water spouts? Quick answer, probably not. Maybe a few with low pressure in the area, but it's not I wouldn't say it's a prime environment for them, no.
Yeah, not this time. We really need a low pressure center to be slow moving and go directly over the lake. Right now, they're kind of splitting the lake up the center, so they're not really. It's too I can't talk right now. The environment is too sheared. It's too sheared. Do we have the lift? Yeah, we do, but we also need wind shear to work in its favor. And right now, any water spout that would try to form is going to get ripped apart. I mean, there's just no way. It's unfavorable right now. Are our water temperatures warm enough? Yeah, they're warm enough. They're very warm right now for this time of year. We just need to have the right dynamics come into play to have water spouts. So can we get some this season? We could, but I don't think they're likely this week.
Just want to say, I believe on 3 of the 5 lakes, we are at or tied for near record water temperatures right now.
Yeah.
I think we're just trailing 1 year. I don't recall the year, actually. I saw the graph a few days ago, but we are quite warm for this time of year. So
and
that will likely cool off too as we get
in our lake effect snow machine come this winter too.
That will help. Yeah,
it's going to delay the freezing of the Great Lakes if we do get some cold enough air to support freezing. It's going to prolong that process a little bit, so it'll keep the lakes open if we do get a cold air mass in for lake effect snow. So
what's more likely, a major snowstorm this winter or a Lions Super Bowl win this winter? That's a hard question, Andy. You had to put me on a spot.
Major snowstorm.
I'm going to say major snowstorm just because we always usually get 1 or 2, maybe sometimes more per year. It's Michigan.
But winter. You never know. I mean, they could go all the way. They were good last year, and they're doing good this year.
What are the odds that both happen would be a better question.
Hey.
But hey, we're all Lions fans here, but looking pretty good, that's for sure. Will the winds affect crossing the bridge tomorrow? Potentially, Irene. Potentially. I'm not sure what the criteria is for closing the bridge. Excuse me. But I would definitely think with 30 to 45 mile an hour gusts, I would definitely expect potential up there to close Mackinac Bridge. Axe says both are likely. I agree, Axe. I agree. As a Lions fan, I want to see the Lions win. I also want to see a good snowstorm this year.
It never hurts to be optimistic. I mean, little optimism doesn't kill anybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions you guys have here? Again, I'll do a quick recap here real quick. So starting off the week, we're going to have rain moving into the state here. In fact, it's already moving into the state as we speak. Overnight tonight, an area low pressure off to our west is going to move up through Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and move into Canada. As it does so, it's going to bring gusty winds up to the northwest portions of Michigan, UP and Michigan. Gusts over 30 miles an hour possible in those areas. A little bit stronger in the Keweenaw Peninsula as it sticks out over the lake. Could have some gusts 40 plus in that location there. As we move into the middle part of the week, secondary area of low pressure develops. As it occludes, could bring some rain, mixing with snow, and then back to rain. More details on that to come as we have better confidence in what our temperatures are going to be. Temperatures are probably the biggest uncertainty right now with this system, just because a few degrees can make a big difference in the rain, snow, and how much. Later part of the week, as this system moves in, we dry out for the last part of the week, and then we're watching a system moving in right around the Sunday time frame. Could have some potential for rain and snow. Too far out, we'll have more details on that to come. And that is your 22nd week recap.
Temperatures will be warm tomorrow morning to add to that.
Yep.
Then we're going to drop off. We're going to be pretty cold here throughout the long term. In fact, we could see in the 30s to start just
Yeah,
end
and most
November.
people are actually going to hit their high temperatures maxed for 2 hours tomorrow afternoon before that cold front comes through. We're going to quickly warm up and then quickly cool down through the afternoon tomorrow. So we're not going to stay warm very long. Not like today where it was consistent temperatures. Tomorrow we're going to quickly warm, quickly cool as that cold front quickly progresses across the state. So keep that in mind too. We might reach our high while everyone's at work. We may go into the office at our high temperature or leave the office as that cold front's coming through, depending on where you're at. So the cold front's going to come through during the middle of the day.
Any other questions, guys? Pretty straightforward week. Not really. But it's actually, I mean, it kind of is. I mean, we're looking at a system in the midweek, and it's going to be cold this week. That's about the takeaway.
Nothing too crazy. Still just a few minor details to iron out. Again, I just want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight. We got Janelle in here. Candace is in here. Rhombus. Great to have you guys in here. Kyle, Katie, Tommy, Axe. Yeah, great to have you guys in here. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in here real quick. We can answer those for you real quick before we hop off. But not a too crazy week. One thing I will say here going out, we've had a lot of messages coming through on major snowstorms and stuff like that. I can't reiterate this enough. Be very careful on, especially the early parts of winter. Be very careful on where you get your snowfall information from. There's a lot of misinformation out there in terms of, major snow events. If you see keywords such as major, extreme, killer, those should be red flags immediately. One, we can all do our part in helping stopping the spread of that misinformation as well. Really, there's no need for it. I mean, it'll be what it'll be. There's no really a need to embellish snow totals like that just for clicks and likes, because ultimately it'll end up misinforming people and leaving you disappointed. I mean, because chances of seeing 3 feet of snow in one event are nil. It's just not going to happen. It climatologically can't happen very often. So do keep that in mind. So as going forward here, again, we'll update you just because you see another post or another page posting snowfall totals. It's not that we don't know or that we're hiding something from you. It's because we strive for accuracy and we're waiting until that data comes in to where we have the accuracy to be able to put those numbers out there. We don't want to change our forecasts every 2 hours based on model runs. We want to be able to get it right the first time. So that's why we may not be first, but we're going to strive to be as accurate as we can. So keep that in mind going forward here throughout the winter months. We'll keep you updated, and we'll always keep you informed the best we can. So,
Cyndaquil asked, what are the grapple and sleet chances?
There might be some here right along that transition line. I think grapple is a little bit more on the lower end this time. Maybe some possible along the lakeshore. Again, it's really dependent on what our temperature profiles are going to be. Because really, I see a quick changeover between snow to rain in this system. And the reason for that is this low, as it's deepening, temperatures are already pretty marginal in terms of snowfall. They're right around 33, 32. It's not a super cold system. So with that being said, it's going to be a quick changeover between snow to rain. And it's actually going to start as snow, likely for most people. As this low deepens, it's going to pull south. But it's going to bring warmer temperatures south along with it because remember, it's pulling that moisture north and around it. So as it does that, that warm air is going to come south with it. So any snow that we do get will actually likely melt as that low moves south and brings that warmer air south with it. So do keep that in mind too as we move into Wednesday. And again, we'll keep that we'll keep updating you guys as we get that new data in and available. So.
Going off that, Karen asked, when will we do our forecast for later this week? Assuming you mean the potential snow, as early as tomorrow evening, we'll have one out. But it may be, depending on our confidence, maybe early Wednesday. So next 24 hours or so.
Yep.
Katie, your wind gust for Belleville, roughly about 25 miles per hour for tomorrow. And then again, I'm going to say probably 15 to 25 gusts on Wednesday as well. So nothing major over there.
Yep.
Any other questions, guys?
All right, guys. So with that being said, thank you guys all for joining us here again. It's awesome being able to hang out with you every Monday night. We hope you guys have a wonderful Monday evening here and a good rest of the work week here. And we should have an update here probably maybe tomorrow night, depending on our confidence. Otherwise, Wednesday morning. And we will let you guys know what Wednesday is in Thursday time frame is going to be. Other than that, plan on some rain mixing with snow, and we will see you guys next time. Have a good evening.
See you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.